American squad tonight. And Kymora Johnson, well, you know it, all ACC performer, first in a couple of years here for the University of Virginia. Fans can't wait to see these two teams. New look, very young team for American, and a bit of a remake for Virginia, certainly at the post position. But those guards back to lead the way for UVA. And down the right side of the lane it goes. First look for Virginia. Just off the mark from Paris Clark. Here's a look at the starting five for American. Who else do you highlight, Lauren?
Yeah, well, you talked about it. Young squad here. You have Cecilia Kay, who's a freshman forward that's going to be starting in the paint, getting her first look here for the season.
Well, just how young? 6 freshmen out of the 12 on the roster for American. 1 sophomore and a couple of transfers that are key, and the 2 international players set to lead the way for this American squad. Virginia tried to get their first bucket of the year on a putback in the interior. It was not to be, but there is a foul called on the floor with the basketball in the hands of Breona Hurd.
Few gimmies around that basket there. We saw Paris Clark on that first play come up short on a layup, and a few more to go, but hoping to see their basket or their ball go through the basket real soon here.
Interior of the paint, from which the first bucket comes, and Virginia is on the board for the first time in the 24-25 season. Cavaliers get a bucket from Adesanoya. Takeaway. There's that guard play for UVA, and there is that first bucket you were waiting on from Breona Hurd.
Oh yeah, the young buck getting some action here, and another steal from Paris Clark.
And Clark, who tried for the first bucket, comes away with this one, and it's a quick 6-0 run for Virginia. You get to see one of the youngsters right away make an impact in Hurd, and Paris Clark caps the 6-0 beginning for UVA.
All in a few different roles here, but what matters is getting a stop and finishing it off on the other end there for Virginia.
6-0 run for Virginia to begin things as they welcome in American out of the Patriot League to get the new season underway in Charlottesville. There's a look at the third-year head coach of American, Tiffany Cole. A couple of third-year head coaches dueling it out in this season opener. Perimeter shooting, one of the points of emphasis for this team. The try by Nogus will not go down. Here comes Virginia. Park again, dumps this off underneath, and the Cavaliers working together beautifully for an 8-0 start.
Fast-paced second transition bucket there.
Well, a brief glance at Coach Mox. You know what she has built, the excitement surrounding this program a year ago. Culture established and the foundation laid, and it will be Virginia basketball.
Oh yeah, it's been all about the culture with Coach Mox. She talks about it. Culture wins. And so building with this new team, new roster, even you see the starting five lineup here. We talked about Breona Hurd getting that starting position for her first collegiate game. And someone that also sticks out to me, Jason, is Taylor Lauterbach. She didn't get too much burn in last season, but when she came in, she made a difference, right? She stands at 6'7". So not only is she key on the offensive end and backing down and getting buckets at the basket, but she can also make a big difference defensively.
Great deal more length on this Virginia squad this year, and a team that believes they can move closer to the desired pace for Coach Mox. You mentioned Hurd, already a steal and a bucket to her credit on the season. A little bit too much juice on this one as Johnson looked for her first. Hurd stepping in nicely. You know, the replacements for Virginia going to be in that forward role, and she already has stepped out of that spot to swat one away and lay it home for her first collegiate points.
I mean, you talk about the first game of the season. There's so many jitters about just being on the court again for the first time of the season and wanting to just play your best.
Well, you see the ball in Johnson's hand just a moment ago. She's a reminder of what the expectations are in these parts concerning a debut, right? To start a season the way she did a year ago and carry it all the way through to an all-ACC selection this time around. There is the first bucket for American. Eagles able to put points up just inside of 7 minutes now.
Ivy Bales with that mid-range jumper. She's going to try to pick apart Virginia's defense to try to get right into her sweet spot.
Comes exactly from when you would expect. She is the captain of this team, as we said, the leading returning scorer. But a quick answer from the perimeter for UVA. The Hoos are in double figures, says Hurd. Continues to impress in her debut.
Well, yeah, perfect from the night so far. 2 for 2. Hurd getting real comfortable very early in this season.
Bit of a foul up top. How about that? Even record again a year ago, but a postseason berth, Lauren, able to pick up a win in the first round of the WBIT, worked their way into the second round, battled some injuries, but had some highlight moments and much to build on a season ago.
Oh yeah, grind now, shine later is what this Virginia squad holds their hats on. Coach Mox is all about the intensity. We see them trapping off of ball screens here a few times in the first couple possessions, and that's what she's about. She's about making a difference, like that block from the freshman.
Well, impressive on one end of the floor already. Here's Hurd. Remember, she had that steal early in the block, showing just how complete her game is going to be for UVA.
Yeah, I don't think we've given a full insight. Breona Hurd is a 4-star prospect coming into this Virginia Cavaliers program, and she just gets a hand on it. She times it up, and she moves her feet and doesn't try to work with just her body there on that last play.
Easy to see why she was a McDonald's All-American, 93rd prospect in the nation. Coming to Charlottesville, and she and the Hoos, as advertised in the early going, and there's Kymora Johnson, who didn't get it going maybe quite as quickly as she could have hoped in this contest, but now on the score sheet. Down the right side goes Kay, and a foul is called.
You know, one thing that I've noticed so far on this Virginia offensive side of the ball, I should say, is, you know, although the shots that they're taking might not all be going in, their pace is remaining the same. They're getting out, they're pushing, they're looking at their secondary transition options as we see a new face in a new jersey here for Virginia.
Bucket's going to go down on the American side of things, and they cut the lead to 13-4. Well, you talk about the energy and the intensity. The word that she used regarding this program is that this is a very hungry group. A little bit too much on that pass, and it'll go the other way. But that hunger, she hopes that this team can parlay into further success in this new campaign.
Yeah, a lot to be excited about. When young Bucks step into a program and begin to shift the culture, begin to shift expectations even for fans, right? I mean, I can't tell you how many times Virginia set records with the amount of fans that they got to attend John Paul Jones Arena last year. It feels different in the arena. It feels different on grounds. And so I'm sure that anyone that steps on campus is able to get a sense of that very quickly.
Well, and you mentioned a new face into the lineup, Peyton Dunbar, one of those stepping on campus. And she's a Commonwealth native, Southwest Virginia product, now a part of this grouping for UVA. To follow up what we've seen from Hurd to this point. And here's an initial look underneath. And on cue, Peyton Dunbar lays one home. She's in the score sheet in her collegiate debut.
Yeah, getting early minutes here in the first quarter for Dunbar out of Virginia.
Southwest Virginia product, as mentioned. And it was Hurd, Dunbar, and Kitchen who is expected and is going to redshirt. That the trio of freshmen brought in to fill the gaps on this Virginia roster. Plenty of moves from Dunbar, but that's going to be lofted off the lower body and out of bounds to American. How about Dunbar?
I mean, she's running in transition. She's looking ahead, making herself available, knows that she's going to get it, and even dodges off the defender to make sure she gets a clean look at the basket. I mean, you talk about Dunbar, but what about that no look by Hurd?
Hurd and Dunbar, a little vision, whose fans hope of things to come. And the conversation when you're talking about freshmen coming in hinges on what Kymora Johnson was able to do a season ago, now a year older, the unquestioned leader of this Virginia squad. But if the incoming pieces can contribute as nicely long-term as they have in the early going here, something special for UVA. Nogus subbing in for American, and here's a look at those three. Mentioned Kitchen will not play this season, going to redshirt, but we're already seeing that could be quite a duo.
Yeah, high producers this freshman class is. All of them averaging double digits, some of them averaging double digits scoring and rebounding, and they all have something that Coach Mox credits her program to, which is heart.
Dunbar, the Jefferson Christian product. You see that independent tab. Averaged 27 points, 4 rebounds, trio of assists, trio of steals, and right out of block of game as a 1,000-point scorer in her prep career.
First bucket that we're seeing a look at Letitia Lattimore taking her time there on the block, going between two defenders, actually not able to see it through the net, but was able to land herself at the free throw line. It's transfer for Virginia squad from Miami. Dealt with a bit of injury there her first year with Miami and joins Virginia as a senior forward who has some, experience not only in the ACC, but also with Texas in her first season as college athlete.
Yeah, she's the player that Coach Mox talks about with the breakout potential. Can't get the first free throw to rattle down, but Canadian, they talk about, obviously, with her size, her ability to dunk the basketball. Hasn't been able to pull that off in a game just yet, but certainly they believe the potential is there. But she is getting healthy. For about the last week and a half, having been at full song, saw limited time in Virginia's scrimmage and exhibition, but they expect big things out of Lattimore this year, the Miami transfer.
Tough Virginia defense on that possession. Everyone seemed like they were in sync. It even sounded like the crowd was hyping them up at the perfect time to get that turnover and head the other way.
He's set to bring it in for Virginia as Koepke takes a seat on the American side of things. Paris Clark to bring it up the floor. Question marks for Virginia, we said it, with the bigs, but they brought in some length with the likes of Lattimore. The guard play, no question. And here's Olivia McGee down the right side to remind you.
Oh, yeah, McGee is so good when she is going downhill in transition. We saw it a lot last season. And this season, it looks like they're going to try to get her from the wing, slashing downhill.
Of course, McGee working together with Clark. We talk so much about what Kymora Johnson is able to provide, and that guard grouping Virginia will rely heavily upon. On cue, they come together as Paris Clark plays another home. Well, a chance to remind you that a busy night of basketball continues this evening at 9 when UNC plays host to Elon over on the ACC network. You can stick around after the game. And Nothing But Net crew will have you caught up on everything related to the opening day of ACC basketball. Lauren, games starting around 10 this morning across the conference. And it is a basketball fan's dream to think that after the long 7-month wait, the round ball is back in full force.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but this is my favorite day of the year. Not Christmas, not Thanksgiving, but the first day of college hoops. It's nothing like it.
Yeah, might as well be a holiday, and some major events to get you caught up on around the ACC. You'll want to stick around at the half as this highly regarded conference now expanded.
Oh, yeah.
A new look ACC already making some noise on day one. Everything going according to script in this first quarter for Virginia, out to a 19-6 start on American. Led by the young faces and the new faces, including Breona Hurd, who is back in the lineup for UVA. Nice move down the right side.
Taking advantage of
for American.
Yeah, taking advantage of that step too slow for Virginia defender there.
That was Resifina, Anna Resifina, the Italian, one of a couple of international players recruited by the former professional player in the international ranks, Tiffany Cole, the head coach of American. Just going to work Valente Paya. An inbound situation, and it's laid home. How about this? Backing it down and taking care of business is Hurd on a re-entry.
I mean, the contact didn't matter. She's enforcing her will down there in the paint, and you're seeing why she earned herself that starting spot as a freshman.
Now already working her way to the top of the score sheet for Virginia with 7 to lead the Cavaliers. Boy, nice move in the lane to create some space.
I tell you, both these teams, they're getting in the paint. Not too many threes that have gone up between both teams. Only 4 threes so far. A lot of the points we're seeing are coming from in the paint, going downhill, taking advantage on the drive.
Maybe a little different than what you expected when you talk about two teams relying so heavily upon guard play and a couple of teams that made it a point to bring in perimeter shooters. But you're right, a lot happening in the interior to this point. After Resifina heated up to the tune of 6 points, the last couple of key ones for American. Nothing happening this trip down.
I mean, as a freshman, look at her bodying her way into the paint and doing so legally, right? She's using her body, she's using her dribble to back her way into the paint to get a clean look at the basket.
Well, she was the Miss Show Me Basketball nominee, the Missouri native, and she has shown Virginia fans plenty in the first period of her collegiate career on this Monday night in Charlottesville. Quickly into Johnson before she can put a shot up. Whistles blow. And a foul on Nogas.
Johnson, first step is extremely quick. Nogas was a step behind that and bodied her up a little bit too close there for the referee's liking.
Johnson, who is the returning leader in scoring, assists, steals, and made threes for Virginia from a season ago. Well, our football lineup on the ACC network begins Friday night with a matchup of 4 and 4 teams. At 8 Eastern, going to be Cal squaring off against Wake Forest, and then on Saturday, NC State hosts Duke. That one's in Raleigh at 3:30 Eastern, followed by number 23 Pitt and Virginia at 8. Each game also available on the ESPN app. Trying to break the pressure from Virginia. Boy, close to an extra step from Resifina. And that's the one thing, right, with the international players you have to work hard on. She was okay there. But the transition to the American game, somewhat a challenge. No challenges in transitioning a year ago to the college ranks, and she picks it up here with Johnson taking care of business from the perimeter.
The lack of a box out there for Virginia. And American finds 2 more.
But a strong first period for the Hoos as they take a 26-12 lead after 1.
Oh, women athletes and how to grow their sports. You know, he talked about not thinking of it as women's version of a men's sport, but thinking of it as its own entity, which is making a huge difference.
Yeah, great to have him in the building tonight. Going to be honored as a portion of tonight's contest. One of the great alums of the University of Virginia. No, he's seen some star power already in this one. Leading the way, Johnson, who you might have expected from a season ago with her debut, and another debut that's becoming memorable, and that's Breona Hurd. Both of those players with 7 points as he looks on right now. He's seeing the star power on the Virginia roster. You know, you think about where the game has been nationally, as this is going to be Virginia's after the foul call. This sport growing tremendously. South Carolina's undefeated title a year ago. Caitlin Clark with that monster season. Of course, Angel Reese and LSU and what they've done. You look at the ACC and Hannah Hidalgo. The stars right here on this floor that we're talking about. This is prime time for the sport, Lauren.
Oh my goodness, it's no better time, right, to invest not only money but your time, right? I think student athletes, they have a higher standard of expectation when it comes to women in sports all around, no matter if you're on the court or on the sidelines. And I think there's no better time to be a part of it than these athletes putting on for their sport.
Well, and Virginia breaking the season ticket record a year ago, improving upon that once again here. Who can forget the largest crowd in the history of the Commonwealth to see that Virginia Tech-Virginia game here a season ago. So many prime moments. And I'll say this way, in a world where player movement and NIL demands make it perhaps a little more difficult to get attached to your team, how many programs have a hometown kid on the roster that has made the immediate connection like KJ, and how many have them as the star of their program as a hometown kid?
That's a great trivia question, Jason.
I'm not going to give you the answer because I'm not going to comb every roster in the country, but I will say it is a luxury for UVA to have Kymora Johnson do what she did a season ago and come right back here as the leader of this program. Ball in her hands now as she is going to take, well, had she got that to fall, was looking for the lead on the score sheet today. Got to be a tie-up, and it'll stay with Virginia this direction. Johnson in this one, 7 points, though she's just 2 of 5 from the field to begin things. You know what she means to this program.
The biggest difference, I think, when you look at Kymora Johnson and another freshman, right? You talk about her being a hometown hero of sorts, but she's also bought in. You know, she's entering a program with a fairly new head coach where she's bought into whatever Coach Mox is desiring for this program, and that's winning. That's getting it back, getting Virginia back to a high standard of winning. And for someone who's grown up in the area, she knows what that looks like, and she wants to do that. She wants to be able to bring that back to Charlottesville.
Well, and what did Coach Mox tell us she was most proud about regarding her team? She said the fact that they are, for lack of a better word, she said, and these were her words, policing one another. She said our players are defending the culture in relation to our other players now. And Kymora Johnson, with her leadership, a major part of that as she continues to develop. They talked about her decision-making coming along, and you've seen the leadership on display. Here's an outside look from McGee that won't go. Off the glass hard, and Virginia's lead steady at 26-15.
Virginia hasn't had too many outside looks fall just yet. Offensively, when they get it into the paint and they can get those wide open shots is where they're best.
Well, you may think Virginia, with so many departures from a season ago, would be looking to try to replace the majority of their production, but so much happening from the guards, both in the scoring and the rebounding department, that much of what Virginia needs is back. Yes, there are some questions to be answered. One of those, to this point, perhaps beginning to be answered by Breona Hurd. But a lot of the key pieces for Virginia still right here inside JPJ.
American not able to see the ball go through the net. A lot of try to tip it in. But there on the other end, Olivia McGee shows you how to finish through contact off the putback.
Just as painful for an American team that has started 7 of 23 from the floor to see Virginia that quickly convert on the other end and grow the lead. Here's another dose of McGee.
Yeah, emphasis on quickly. They are getting the ball down the court so fast that American can't even set up their defense. Olivia McGee was just sitting there waiting for the pass on the opposite block.
McGee with 2 of her first 4 shots going down. And she'll try it from the charity stripe for the first time this season. True there as well.
Yeah,
Cavaliers, in contrast, if you're wondering, 12 having fallen home out of their first 26, shooting about 33% from the floor thus far. Back of the iron. Looked like it was going to be a McGee rebound, but it's Lattimore instead. She'll take it coast to coast.
Ooh, beautiful hesitation.
First bucket for Lattimore.
Beautiful hesitation in the paint. Her defender was slacking off of her, but she knew that she wanted to get to the rim, and the hesitation allowed her defender to raise up just a little bit to get that lay on the right side.
And American with an answer on the other end, and one coming for the Eagles.
Elizabeth Archer is not backing down. She said, you can get a bucket on that end, but I'm going to come right back at you.
The N1 opportunity capitalized on. Archer taking her total 3 to begin things. New Jersey native, a contributor for America. Well, back of the iron for Dunbar, but Virginia on the second look makes it count.
She'll take it. Line one up, coming off of a screen. I don't know if that was a play or not, but she came off that screen or came off of someone's screen and was wide open for that 3.
Well, another, we were talking about Commonwealth natives, makes it a little easier perhaps for the fan base to connect, right? When you get one of those as the new faces on the roster. And another Commonwealth connection for UVA.
Yeah, I think Lauterbach went away and screened down for her, and she came up. Lost her defender, and she got every part of the backboard and rim for that 3.
Yeah, used it all to go around. Driscoll able to connect on the first free throw, and the Allentown, Pennsylvania native has another. Driscoll's first points of the contest. Molly Driscoll, niece of former NFL standout Mike Caramelli, who you'll remember maybe from his Penn State playing days. Quite a legend in the land of the Nittany Lions. Uncle of Molly Driscoll, who hails from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Trying to find a little window from which to score, but an extra step from Archer turns it over to Virginia.
Yeah, this American offense is a lot of pass and cutting, and they're just not losing Virginia defenders on those cuts. And so it seems like they're trying to force lanes right now as they come up here with a steal and an opportunity the other way.
Well, just when it looked she was going to be able to weave through, Virginia to get back, but the contact results in a whistle and a foul. Lauterbach picking up a couple here.
Yeah, Lauterbach's second foul here. 8 rebounds for Lauterbach, leading Virginia tonight with 8 rebounds so far. Talk about her impact when she's on the court, just the difference that she's able to make. She came up with the foul there, but we know with her stature that she's easily capable of racking up some blocks too.
Virginia, after Driscoll connects from the charity stripe, has one rim off for Dunbar. Rim not as kind as the last time around. Same holds true on the other end with Resifina. 5-minute mark first half. Virginia having built it to double digits.
Virginia offense getting lackadaisical on the offensive end. Another turnover.
Well, it looked like Resifina might take it, but she found Kay in the interior to lay it home for American. Timeout on the floor with 4:43 to go in the opening half. And Virginia up by double digits. Year two, certainly a foundation laid, the building blocks, success in the ACC for Virginia. Of course, who can forget the number of ranked foes they took down? 4 times Virginia coming out on top in that scenario. A WBIT invitation and a win in the first round that earned them a trip to Villanova in round 2. And Kymora Johnson, well, a good enough season. She's earned ACC all-conference honors heading in to her second campaign on grounds. It was quite a year, Lauren, year 2 under Coach Mox.
Yeah, sounds like a recipe for 9th on the preseason All-ACC poll.
Right in the middle of the league now. You think 9th and you think, wow, ACC 9th. There are 18 teams in the league now. So Virginia right in the mix at 9th.
I mean, between the program boosting wins, you talk about those ranked opponents that they took on and they overcame, some of them on the road even. I mean, that does something for a program where, you know, people are talking about that for years to come.
Yeah, team battled through injuries, had some pieces to to try and fill. Hurd showing you why she's a good candidate to do just that as she climbs to the top of all scorers with the first double-figure performance tonight. Hurd as advertised thus far for UVA.
Yeah, perfect from behind the three-point line, going 2 for 2 so far, showing when she's confident anywhere that she catches that ball.
You know, you remember the start for this Virginia team last season. They were off to an 8-2 start, battled some nagging injuries, dealt with some issues, but closed it up nicely with that win over High Point in the WBIT game played here before dealing with Villanova on the road. So kind of bookended the year with much to build on, and have started strong, and they're going to build much of what happens down low, it seems, on the back of Hurd, who continues to impress.
Slipping behind the cutter, making herself available everywhere on the court. Great look there for Kymora Johnson, who set a record last season for freshmen with the most assists, with 172 assists last season. So she knows a thing or two about seeing her teammates, finding her teammates, and making sure that they're in position to do something great with the basketball.
Well, this is a combo that is music to Hoos fans' ears. They hope all season long. Johnson to Hurd, and it falls through the hoop for the Hoos. 42-25, the Virginia lead. Perimeter look. Hurd thinking right now she can score from anywhere.
I mean, she
Why not try it?
Takes the three and then gets her own rebound and attempts to take it in yet again, but there's a foul called on the floor here. It's a mindset thing, right? As a freshman, you're coming in and you're wanting to get a win in your first collegiate game, but for her it seems like there's something else, right? She wants to go out here and really begin making a name for herself here in Charlottesville.
Foul was on Moore Nicholson, her first. No whistle here, but the bucket goes down nonetheless. And you said it, just confidence from anywhere on the floor and what she provides, particularly when you consider what Virginia lost a season ago, Lauren. That the one spot, the length, the size, the work in the interior. The fact that she can come in and fill that gap nicely, all the more reason to celebrate what we're seeing here tonight.
Oh yeah, the work of the interior was huge, right? You talk about Cameron Taylor, who was down low for this Virginia squad and would just go to work on the post. And so now having another player who not only is playing in the post, but can also stretch a defense, right? When you get into ACC play, there are going to be 4 players, there are going to be 5 players who can shoot that 15, 17-foot footer. And so Breona Hurd also getting ahead of the 8 ball here in this non-conference play. First game of the season where she is just in her zone.
Yeah, Cam Taylor averaged 15 points per game. She had a team-high 4 double-doubles. You think about Clarkson, who pulled down 4 boards a game and averaged about 6 points as well. Sam Brunel, who led the team with 25 blocks, also had about 6 points per contest, hit 39 threes for Virginia. You think about the length that is lost there, the size in the interior, and just the experience that Virginia is without. Try convincing anybody here tonight that Hurd doesn't have all that experience. She's playing like a very experienced member of this squad. Here's Johnson with a wide open look from downtown. Rarely is she going to miss that one. Kymora Johnson training a 3.
You cannot leave her open, and you cannot allow Virginia to take advantage of second chance looks at the basket.
Well, and you saw that rebounding advantage that was there for Virginia as the traveling call will turn it back over to the Hoos. Double digits already, the plus advantage for UVA in that category. And that's the one thing that may surprise you. When we're talking about losing so many of the bigs, Lauren, the fact that Virginia still brings back a great deal of its rebounding is somewhat of a surprise because the guards handled much of that heavy lifting a year ago.
Oh yeah, I mean, right now Virginia is leading this game with 26 rebounds, and if you look at their stats from about a year ago, they averaged over 40 rebounds per game, right? So they're not lacking in that department, because it comes down to what Coach Moggs has drilled into her team for so long, is that they're going to be a defensive-minded team and they're going to be on the glass. You know, whatever happens in between those two things will happen, but those are the things that they can control.
And here's a board. Here's Johnson. Behind the back, she delivers it to Hurd with no luck, and the finish is just as true.
I mean, she's putting on a show now. Behind the back look to her freshman for the transition bucket. I mean, you can't make this up, Jason.
Well, what you wanted to see from this duo materializing and turning into a major run for UVA. 15-2 to surge ahead on the doorstep of 50. This is worth another look.
From the swagger to the finish, I mean, too easy in transition. I mean, Hurd, you know, where is she not on the basketball court? Wherever there's a ball going through the basket, she's usually right there and the one scoring it. Tough duo between those two.
Kymora Johnson knows exactly where she is, it seems, at all times. And it came off of, as we're talking about the rebounding and the guards, came off of a rebound that caromed away to Johnson. And it reminds you what you're talking about with Coach Mox's approach as Johnson weaves through and reminds you she can score as well. You know, she was asking the preseason presser, well, who's going to rebound for you? She kind of smirked and said, everybody.
Yeah.
That's her approach.
I mean, that's the best thing about having guards who rebound, because they can get the ball from the rim and take it themselves. They can start the break themselves and begin to create opportunities for forwards, for other guards, even to get wide open looks at the basket, which we've seen time and time again in the second quarter.
How about 16 from Hurd in her debut? And Johnson, who wowed him a year ago in this same type scenario, the other in double figures with 12. Final seconds of the half. Going to be out and into the grasp of American with 1.5 to play. How about this half for Virginia, Lauren?
I mean, it has been show-stopping, must-watch basketball, I tell you that. Between the freshman Breona Hurd and Kymora Johnson continuing to be the leader of this team, both
Jay was 4 of 9 from the field. She, of course, the Massachusetts native that is one of 6 freshmen on this very young American roster. Quick foul right out top. This one going to be charged to Kepke. And that is her first personal on Virginia's opening possession of the third quarter. Clark, front of the iron, but right there and able to put it back is Lauterbach.
Easy 2 points there into the beginning of this first half. Virginia just knows how to slow things down and speed it up when they need to offensively to get a good basket.
Lauterbach becomes the 8th different scorer for UVA in the game, as she has the first points of this third period. Tried to reverse on that underneath look, but it won't go for Refacina. Stepping back, trying a 3. That's tipped out of there by Bales, who is on the floor for American now, but it'll belong to UVA and Hurd to inbound. I told you 16 points. She was 7 of 11. Was Hurd, couple from beyond the arc to her credit in her first half of basketball. Well, what did you notice from Hurd to this point? Well, we'll get back to that. Quick takeaway for Johnson, and she'll take it the distance to lay it home. Kymora Johnson closing in on the point total for Hurd. She's still Virginia's leading scorer. What has impressed you most about the youngster so far, Lauren?
Yeah, so far she knows her sweet spots. She knows where to get the ball and where she can be the most effective, right? She's not shooting a whole bunch of shots, right? She's a 7 for 11 so far. She's being extremely effective. And also she's getting open shots, right? Which means that they are running plays for her to get the ball while she's wide open and able to knock down threes, able to find a drive to the basket. And lastly, she's taking advantage of defense. This Virginia squad loves defense. They love to get into passing lanes and run out in transition. And so she's got a few just easy layups at the basket just by running in transition.
That combo of Johnson and Hurd responsible for 30 of Virginia's 55 to this point. You talked about Kay. She's the first in double figures for American and stays true from the charity stripe. That foul was the initial picked up by Lauterbach, and it will mean Lattimore into the contest as she will take a seat. Lattimore saw 8 minutes of action. 1 field goal in that first half. All kind of contact as Bales tried to step in there. Remember now, she had a couple quick whistles in the first half that limited her time. We'll see who this is on.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to call that on Bales as well.
So she picks up a third, further trouble for American.
Yeah, another drive there from Clark. We see Clark being aggressive in this second half, and as she has been during her time in a Virginia jersey, and one by Latasha Lattimore.
Well, welcome back to the combination on the floor to Lattimore. Mentioned she had the one bucket in the first half and doubles her point total, and will head to the line looking for more. Noga's going to give way to Molly Driscoll, who played 14 minutes in the first half. Did some work of her own from the free throw line. Lattimore can't get this one to fall, and it'll be a rebound away to Bales, who remains on the floor after picking up her third. Taken away by Clark. Numbers for UVA. And Lattimore off the glass will repeat the feat. She'll go to the line for an and one on a second straight possession.
Back-to-back and ones, flexing after that one. Lattimore running out in transition. She was a part of that trap originally, and she just finds her lane. Paris Clark finds her running, and she's able to finish right through that contact. She is an upperclassman, right? So she knows a thing or two about battling for her buckets. And she finds herself at the free throw line.
And you think about the way she has battled through her career. A couple of ACL tears that she has fought through. You talked about the start of her career at Texas, and then working her way to Miami before transferring here. Really believe she's the right fit for Virginia. They talk about what a great defender she's going to be once she is full song health-wise. So much emphasis on her scoring, Lauren, but Coach Mock's high on her ability to defend. Now this is going to be player control. It's going to go the other way. So Virginia trying to build on the head of steam Lattimore created, but a little too strong on this possession by Hurd.
Yeah, it looks like Breona Hurd tried to step around, but stepped right in to Driscoll's chest there, and she was there in perfect timing.
Well, remember, we told you Driscoll is the niece of Mike Caramelli. She used to that contact in the football part of it, and Driscoll, who was freshly into the contest. Also, by the way, a soccer captain in high school. Runs youth camps and whatnot during her downtime, and she makes a headsy play there for American.
Yeah, you know, I played 1 year of soccer, and those girls were extremely aggressive, so I can see why she is not shying away from contact in this game.
Not a bit with that family connection. Here's a first that will rattle off for Garby. Well, Saturday at a special time of 2 Eastern, the ACC Huddle crew get you ready for the day with a 90-minute pregame show that leads into Duke NC State. That's a 3:30 start. They'll also have halftime shows, pre and post-game shows throughout the day. Don't miss ACC Huddle, keeping you up to speed on Saturday. Speaking of football and contact, well, here's a forceful drive toward the basket and a fruitful possession for UVA.
Beautiful drive to the baseline, wraparound basket for Lattimore.
Stop and try to go over top by Resifina, but it was not to be, and Lattimore brings it up the floor. Kick for a three, too strong. Lattimore tried to punch that out. Somehow it ends up back in her hands after all. McGee does rattle it down.
Rattles it down, is able to find her first made three on the night.
And for Virginia, 7 of them on their first 18 attempts. The 3 ball leading the Cavs out front. New season underway on grounds. Virginia out front of America, 65-28 as we work through the third period. Opening day of college basketball around the country. And the American Eagles making the short trip over from Washington, D.C. to take on Coach Mox and company in her third season at the helm. Of course, this an American team that lost the majority of their production from a season ago, much of it coming from Emily Johns, who, you want ACC connections, is now at Wake Forest with the former coach of the Eagles, Lauren. Of course.
Yeah, Emily Johns, only player for this American squad last season a year ago that averaged double figures, right? And so we're talking about not only having to return some production there, but also getting some help in regards to scoring and being able to be a balanced scoring team.
Taken away, McGee out front, and she'll lay it with a little touch to extend the Virginia advantage. Yeah, Johns working her way to Winston-Salem, where Megan Jebbia, who led this American squad to the 2022 Patriot League Championship and earned the job in Winston. In fact, Jebbia led that team to all of its postseason appearances all time. 5 different postseason looks, and on more than one occasion they hoisted the Patriot League crown, which had her noticed by the folks in Wake Forest. But Johns with her, so many departing into the portal. Coach Cole was telling us after that championship team just a few years ago, and she said, you know, it really threw our newcomers for this very young team, as you can see, with 6 freshmen and 2 sophomores, into the fire, because, Lauren, she told us so much of the scheduling was made when we were coming off of the championship and expecting to have everybody back. But the portal taketh away as much as it giveth, and of course, Coach getting the opportunity at Wake Forest, and her team in the first couple of years under her tutelage, now having to play up against a number of Power 5 opponents. Somewhat of a baptism by fire, but this young team with the bright prospects moving forward, and she now has her staff and her schedule to try to build it upon.
Coach Cole talked about it, that the portal is like dating, online dating, better yet, right? You put your best foot forward in regards to the scheduling. You know, years in advance the schedule is created, and so you put your best foot forward then, and you still look to kind of tweak your strengths and weaknesses over time to make sure that you're ready for the game that night. You can't think too far ahead when it comes to being in season, you know, but she says in regards to building this team up, it's all about finding leaders. Who's going to take on the leadership role? And that's who they're going to follow.
Well, and one of her strengths, the international connection. You saw Resifina there get the job done on the other end of the floor for Americans. She's the Italian product. It's the native of Italy, alongside the Spaniard. The couple of internationals that are the difference makers on this squad. They, alongside Bells, who we've talked about, are the trio of captains for this team. And when you mention playing to your strength, that is a strength for Coach Cole. She was an international player professionally, has the connections, the relationships to be able to welcome those players who can make a difference in her program. And the other thing she said was a positive, Lauren, was her location. She said no matter where you go in the world, they know where Washington, D.C. is, and that's a draw for her program.
Oh, yeah. And just before that bucket, or as they continue, at least seems like American has been on a hot streak, right? You think about the first half where they were missing chippies, and now they're on a 6-0 run here over the last minute and 30.
Yeah, just across the last 90 seconds. Virginia trying to end that here, and we will get a timeout at the 4:27 mark. You said it, positive things happening for American mid-third. Well, Cavs fans, welcome back to John Paul Jones Arena on this night as Virginia opens a new season of women's basketball. Had a chance to get things warmed up in an exhibition against Barton College, a Division II squad, on Thursday. Coach talking about this team handling the bright lights and getting ready for the ones that count. Well, under the bright lights for the first time in one that counts, Breona Hurd has been everything you would expect, Lauren, alongside Johnson.
Yeah, Kymora Johnson passing off the torch from her freshman year, which was so dynamic on all fronts, not only in Virginia program history, but also in the ACC. And then Breona Hurd just picking up as a freshman all that was laid for her before she stepped on grounds, and really showing herself to be a reliable forward for this Virginia squad who can do it all in the paint, at the going towards the rim, as well as shooting the three.
Well, the comparison's easy to make with Kymora Johnson against Maryland Eastern Shore a season ago and what she was able to do, alongside what you're seeing here from Hurd. Well, it is opening night, and it is a busy night of basketball. UNC hosting Elon over on the ACC network in just a bit. You can stick around after the game. The Nothing But Net crew get you caught up on anything you missed on this first full day of ACC basketball. '76-52 opener against Maryland Eastern Shore back on the 8th of November a year ago. Yeah. Highlighted by the 15 points from Kymora Johnson.
Yeah, she had 15 points in that outing, 3 threes in that night. And I think the biggest thing that everyone was looking for was to see what type of point guard she was going to be, right? She ended the game with 7 rebounds and 2 assists, kind of letting everyone know that, you know, I've got my own game going on here. I can score, I can dish it, and I can also set my team up and get them in rhythm. Coach Mox always is talking about pace and running, and Kymora Johnson certainly led the charge last season on that front, and we're seeing that she's continuing to do so by just the way this guard group is playing. You know, you can kind of get a sense of the point of emphasis among the guards. Everyone is running in transition, not just the post running the lane lines, but everyone is getting out and getting in front. And I have to, you know, talk about how Kymora Johnson is not only just a freshman point guard anymore, she is a leader of this team on and off the court.
Well, first ACC preseason all-conference player since Jocelyn Willoughby, who you will remember, went on to time in the WNBA, now a free agent, spending some time after that stint with the Liberty to see what is going to be next career-wise for her, but one of the tremendous Virginia standouts when you look across the ages, and the most recent before Johnson to have her name on that list. But, you know, you talk about Johnson letting everybody know right away what she came in and was able to do. You may hear the same type of conversation from Hurd before it's all over with. 16 tonight and perhaps still counting with much work left to do. And everybody getting involved for Virginia in so many ways, as you see a bucket underneath here from Valenti Paya. American looking for an answer on the other end. I'll point to that. We've talked a lot about Johnson as well as Hurd. McGee's in there with 10 points as the third in double figures, Lauren.
Oh, yeah. McGee has asserted herself as well. I mean, she's being aggressive, right? I think last year, you know, she was either torn between shooting the shot or taking the lane to the basket. And I feel like she has a pretty clear distinction of what she wants to do on any given time down the court. And we've seen that here, 10 points tonight. She's only 1 from 3 from behind the arc, but we've seen her last season. She has opportunities or opportunities within games where she can get hot from behind the arc. And it's all about getting it to the hot hand, which Virginia does a really good job of.
Well, and 9 different scorers for UVA when all is said and done. So at this point, you look at what's happened to this point, and Virginia's distributing it well, even though you do have the 2 headliners we've talked so much about in Johnson and Hurd. 2.5 remaining in the third. Virginia having held American at arm's length since the early going. You know, quietly, you talk about individuals that are putting something together, Lauren. You look up and Resifina now in double figures with 14, an American. We said doing some positive things to build on here. She's certainly one of the headliners, and another trip down the floor in which there's a bucket. It's Driscoll this time.
Yeah, Resifina has become the leading scorer for this American team, 14 points so far. And, you know, off the top, we talked about Ivy Bales, one of the most experienced players for this very young American squad, and she has found herself in foul trouble, right? So she only has 2 points and hasn't played that much, but you talk about an American team that's trying to create something new and build on what Coach Call has been able to experience, but also do it in a new way, right? They have a totally different squad here, and they're seeing just how far they could go, you know, with Anna Resifina stepping up to the point, as well as a freshman in Cecilia Kay with 11 points.
Yeah, those are the two in double figures. And as you said, the absence in many ways of Bell's ability to play extended time tonight. Bell's why we talk so much about her, the lone fifth-year senior on the squad, the returning leader and captain, the native of Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Beautiful play there by Pingree. She just found the backdoor cut to the basket. Just a time down the court where American was able to run their play fully through.
This is going to be waved off as Johnson worked her way down the left side of the lane. Foul going to come on the floor this time around. Yeah, you mentioned Bells, and it's worth noting 7 minutes where the time sits right now for the captain and one of the returning leader on the American side of things. Well, here's our football lineup for week 11. Happens Friday night. 4 and 4 teams at 8 Eastern as Cal squares off against Wake Forest. And then, of course, a full Saturday of action. NC State hosting Duke at Raleigh. That's 3:30 Eastern, followed by 23rd ranked Pitt and Virginia. 8 o'clock the kick time there. Each game also available to you on the ESPN app as well as on the ACC network. Well, Coach Mock's looking on with everything going according to plan so far tonight. Well, no look is Nogus does the good work for America. You know, we should mention about Coach Mock's, the youngest and the newest Who's fan is in the house tonight. First basketball game for the latest addition to her family, turning 5 months old yesterday. And she said this about the newest two, said all smiles and wide-eyed when she takes in the bright lights of this environment.
Oh, it's amazing. We saw a few pictures of her at practice yesterday with the Virginia Cavaliers, and you know, they were breaking it down, but they had to be quiet because Coach Mox didn't want, you know, her to have any reactions to all the noise. But yes, her first game here in John Paul Jones Arena just happens to be the 2024-25 season opener.
Hell, congratulations are in order, and certainly you can hear the excitement in her voice, and it comes across immediately just how much joy has been brought into the life of that family and infused into this program, because, you know, the culture she is attempting to create here and the family that Virginia basketball has become and continues to grow into, adding one of the most prominent of the members in this offseason.
And you talk about that family aspect. I think even as an alum, one of the first things that I noticed when I came on grounds was that the culture of this program is very much family, right? We talk about the alumni coming back. I was able to attend the alumni weekend last season, and it was record numbers of how many alum were able to attend not only the game but spend a weekend together. And I think that's something special that Coach Mox is trying to continue to build, not only within this program of creating or building upon legacy, but also wanting to build upon family, which I think is so important for any collegiate program in this landscape.
Well, and another of the newest members of that family, Lattimore, laying home the 75th point for Virginia in the closing stages of this third period. Her team tonight, 51% overall, 30 of 59. And holding their opponents to just 34% from the floor to this juncture. First of these free throws will not go down. Second one home for Nogas. She has 3 points for American. Nogas, who, of course, the native of Spain, the other of the international players expected to feature prominently on this roster this year. Well, here's a three ball as Virginia stretches it out on the latest.
Virginia is just the best part about this roster is that everyone can create for themselves, but they're also great passers as well.
And Lattimore, when you talk about her rebounding skills alongside of all that, flirting with a double-double for UVA, 1 of 4 in double figures. Speaking of 4, here's number 4, Nogas, laying home a 3 for American. You know, you have to love the adjustments American made in that third quarter. You saw their offense and brief glimpses into what they're going to need to do in the Patriot League, Lauren, to have success this year.
And Coach Cole talked about that in our call earlier this week. She talked about their strength being adaptability, that they're going to face adversity. They've already faced adversity in regards to just building out this program so far over the past 3 years, right? And, you know, between transfers. And when they're able to adapt, they're able to gain confidence in what Coach Cole is trying to build here. And we're seeing that tonight.
You are exactly right. Still facing a difficult opponent on this night. You talk about hot hands. Here's a check for Clark from downtown. And she now has 7. But American comes right back with an answer. You know, one of the things she talked about that has her team believing they may be able to exceed expectations in the Patriot this year, she finally has the coaching staff together that she wants. Coach Cole saying that when she first arrived, kind of late in the game, had to put together the staff and wasn't able to maybe go after some of the headliners that she wanted. But she's been able to put together a staff now. Went out and got Coach Lewis, who was a player that was at the top of her list, who fans will remember there at American for having been a part of the program. And Christy Rogers, who, interestingly enough, she wanted to offer the job to, but they had been together at Towson. But another job was hiring before she could, and that window was missed. Only to find she called her back and became a part of the staff on her request this time around. So positives to build on for sure. Virginia hosting American for the 8th time in the history of these two programs. We're talking coaching just a little bit ago. How about C.J. Jones, now Virginia associate head coach?
Yeah, Coach Mox was bringing new life into this world. Coach Jones stepped up to the plate, she said, and really began to hone in on what Coach Mox has been wanting her team to buy into for some time now, and he was the voice of reason behind all of it. And this Virginia squad has definitely done that tonight. But when you think about coaching, right, and assistant coaches, they spend a lot of time with the players, from summer workouts to getting in the gym and just rebounding. It's a huge part of player development, and Coach Jones has been able to do just that, earning himself a promotion of sorts.
And when she was asked about the offseason, she immediately, right after talking about the joys of family life, went to, and boy, did my staff make up the difference in those moments. It has been a luxury to have, as we were talking about on one side of the floor, same thing's true on the other, to have the pieces in place of that staff around you to help build the culture. And if there's one thing both of these coaches talk a great deal about, it is culture. And you can see the building blocks there for Virginia. There's Kay Hard to the floor after this contact. Found it interesting, and being here in the start of the basketball season, it obviously comes to mind, but Coach Cole, when we were having our call with her, quoted Tony Bennett.
Oh,
she
yeah.
said, culture takes time. And we certainly heard from the head coach of the Cavs as well when Coach Mox said, it's going to be a little different not having him down the hallway, but he's a friend that has helped create culture and teach her how to build that culture. And so you think about what a different men's basketball season it may be here when you talk about coaching, but both of these coaches gave a nod to what Virginia's culture has been athletic department wide as an example of what it should be, Lauren.
Yeah, and that's bringing on athletic athletes like Paris Clark, who just blocked that ball, erased that shot for American. They thought he had a wide open layup, and Paris Clark hunted it down.
Speaking of men's basketball, 7 p.m. tip on Wednesday. The Camels got to work their way into JPJ as the men's season gets underway and the new era for men's basketball gets underway. Yeah, defensively, 7th block for Virginia. You think about the rebounding tonight. Total rebounding at a +15 for UVA, including a +9 on the offensive boards. It makes up the difference because this is an American team reminding you they can shoot the lights out. That's the hope for Patriot League play. These perimeter shooters coming to life. And this is certainly a team that you want to keep an eye on in the future when you talk about the cultures being built both places. Open look for Lattimore from distance. Boy, what a job to wrestle that away.
Another rebound. As a team, Virginia averaged 41.2 rebounds last season, and they were known throughout the ACC. Whenever we talked to an opponent, an opposing coach, they always talked about how Virginia would attack the boards and how their main key to winning had to be limiting their second chance points. And tonight, Virginia has done just that. They've been getting on the boards, 46 rebounds in this game. 50 of their 85 points have come in the paint.
Well, and everybody a rebounder for UVA. 10 for Lauterbach, obviously, to lead the way. But you got a number with 7, 6, Lattimore, Hurd, everybody involved in the rebounding responsibilities for UVA. Out of bounds quickly to American on the other end. Checking back into the contest, Resafina, who remains the leading scorer for American with 14. Nogus 11, K 11 among the leaders for the visitors from DC. Stop pop right in the heart of things as Pingree gets involved again.
Yeah, driving that baseline, open the middle up, wide open for Pingree for her 11th point of the night.
Little help provided by Lattimore. She'll take a three. Right back her direction. Closing in on 5 minutes to go as Virginia looks to open the new season on a high note. Contact as the whistle is going to be on Pendry. That's just her first personal foul.
You know, games like this, it's pretty interesting, right? I'm watching Coach Mox here on the sideline. Even after a shot goes up, Virginia gets the rebound, and they're able to reset their offense. She's really allowing the guards to kind of guide what Virginia's offense is going to look like from their fourth on. And there is baby girl, Coach Mox's daughter.
Whole
not
family
really
still
taking
awake.
yeah, she's not taking in the views on the court so much as she's scoping out the fans.
But still, as we were told, very wide-eyed and enjoying the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Now the first of many that all Hoos fans, all ages, hope they're going to be able to enjoy with the new additions to this squad this year. Again, a WBIT appearance a season ago. This is trending toward what will be a third straight opening game victory under the Virginia head coach. You remember they took care of business against Maryland Eastern Shore last year, GW the year before, and they keep on cruising with so many different players involved, including Valencia Paya on this occasion.
Beautiful three on the other end, but before she knocked down that three, she was able to get in the pockets of an American player.
Well, and now for Virginia, double digits in yet another category is the three ball. The 10th of them is driven home. McGee hard to the deck. As Virginia has hit 90 on the scoreboard. Wondering how this compares to those two prior openers. 76-52 against Maryland Eastern Shore a year ago. And in the opener against GW, 85-59. So Virginia perhaps going to knock on the doorstep of the century mark tonight, already notching 90 with 4.5 to play. Wouldn't be the first in the ACC to do that today. It's been an impressive display for ACC teams in their openers. What are you most excited about seeing around the ACC this year, Lauren?
I think I'm interested in seeing any new rivalries, right? You have some new teams in the ACC. You know, we've had the top five, I would say, in the ACC really compete at a level that is unseen throughout the NCAA Division I women's basketball. And so being able to just see who's gonna step up, who's gonna try to take people off of their throne, as we see Latasha Lattimore knocking in another and one.
Yeah, to your point, who are the newcomers who will make their presence known in the ACC this time around? Of course, switching in many cases, and Virginia was able to do this with more than one of the newcomers from one ACC location and previous ACC location to another. Of course, you saw Riley Grays factor into this fourth period, who was most recently at UNC there in Chapel Hill. So these additions for Virginia, a reminder of just what you're talking about. Who's going to emerge as those new faces, whether it be an individual or a full team, to write the next chapter of ACC history.
And we talk about the landscape of college basketball, right? When I played 2014 to 2018, there was a time where if you transferred between schools within the same league, you had to sit out for quite some time, right? And so we're seeing a player who's able to transfer and make an immediate impact at another program within the same league. It's quite impressive, and it does something different to the landscape of basketball that a lot of people, which makes it exciting for a lot of fans, I would say.
Yeah, that impact tonight for Lattimore to the tune of 15 points right now. She's behind only Johnson and Hurd. One of four when you throw McGee in there, having reached double figures tonight for Virginia. On cue, it's in her hands, and she'll dump it underneath. There's an interior bucket. Lauterbach showing her strength. She has a couple of baskets tonight for UVA inside.
Yeah, Lauterbach took her time down low, get her feet square underneath her for her to lay in that bucket.
Everybody a contributor for Virginia on this night as the Hoos have posted 94, looking to put the finishing touches on an opening night win. .322 to play, and the Hoos getting so many of the new faces involved, those who returned from a season ago, picking up right where they left off. It's been an all-around complete effort for Virginia so far, Lauren.
Complete effort, for sure. I mean, you talk about the different players that have been able to make themselves assertive, to be assertive in this game. You know, we have 4 double-digit scores in this game with McGee, Lattimore, Johnson, and Hurd. Johnson and Hurd really took over that first half, and we've been able to see the others get into a rhythm in this second half to really extend this lead.
Taking a look from just inside is Salazar, and that's going to rim off. Salazar into the game out of Plainfield, Illinois. They'll try Salazar again from 3, and she nearly knocks this down. Going to be out of bounds and stay on this end of the floor with American. Trying to get Lexi Salazar, one of the sophomores, involved. Remember, 8 on the roster, either in their freshman or sophomore campaigns for this American squad. And a lady who coaches some 3rd and 4th grade basketball in her spare time, volunteers for the Plainfield Angels, organization that gives back, special needs wise, getting involved for American. You know, so much that these players are involved in on all sides. We talk about the impact that local players can make on their community. And both these coaches talking about how proud they are of the way their teams have gelled off the floor. It'd be interesting to see how that translates into success in the year ahead. Turnaround, drop right home. Boy, nice touch. A couple of buckets for her in the last several moments that have been impressive, Lauren.
Yeah, Lauterbach finding her groove down there with a simple turnaround bucket.
Talk about wondering just what lies ahead this season for Virginia is gathering this up. Dunbar will make it a 7-point night in her opener and pull Virginia within a basket of the century mark.
Yeah, and Virginia 13-0 run.
Well, mentioned the season was bookended nicely a year ago for UVA. That tremendous start, the postseason berth at the end. This game, in many ways, somewhat of a microcosm of that, Lauren, as they have started strong. And Virginia, you said it, the 13-0 run, looking to finish this opener very strong, and then turn that into what they hope to be a season in which they build on the success of last year. And a quick turnaround. You remember, after that strong start and that non-conference winning streak, it was Oklahoma they ran into last season. They'll get another crack at the Sooners on Friday.
They will, and they'll do that on the road too, Jason. This Virginia squad, they pride themselves in really building the blocks from non-conference. They don't want a light non-conference play, right? They want to have challenges. They want to win those challenges and overcome, so that when they get in the ACC, that they feel prepared, because we know that on any given night, any team can come up with a win in the ACC, and this pre-ACC play is going to really tell them what type of team they're going to be.
Well, so far so good. Everything going according to plan on this night. There's 100 on the scoreboard for Virginia with 96 seconds to play. And a timeout called by American, as Virginia has put the exclamation point in many ways on this season opener.
Oh, yeah. That is exciting to see 3 digits on the scoreboard for Virginia in the season opener. I mean, there's so many good things for this team.
Well, 100 on the board for UVA, and the fall seasons roll on. We have 3 more ACC championships for you, all right here on the ACC network. You can also access them on the ESPN app. Women's soccer coverage continues through the semifinals on Thursday at 5:30 and 8 Eastern. The field hockey quarterfinals begin tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. And men's soccer has its first round starting Wednesday. That's at 6 and 8. The ACC network is the home of ACC championships. A 100-point night for UVA. A window into perhaps the future for the Hoos. And how about the night Kay has put together for American? Drops home another 3 to put 63 on the board for the visitors. Cecilia Kay out of Massachusetts getting the job done. But a slice down the lane for Dunbar. As impressive as the overall point total will be, the contributions of the fresh faces for Virginia will be as remembered, Lauren.
Yeah, Dunbar's going to be fun to watch. She's extremely quick when she has the ball in her hands, deceptively quick even, probably to defenders. Just the way that she's able to read the defender's back foot and really take advantage going downhill.
Taken away. McGee, soft enough touch to run the total a little higher.
Virginia is not taking their foot off the gas pedal on their home court. They're going to continue to play with the integrity that they've played with all night long, staying true to their values.
Continuing to provide a window into what the outside shooting could mean to this team. Pingree another from three-point land. But as the final half-minute winds down, this is a night that will belong to Virginia. Virginia fans had longed to see this women's basketball team back in action. Find out what more Kymora Johnson and company have in store. And pleased with what they have seen from the likes of Hurd with 18. Dunbar with 9. Lattimore, a newcomer, with 15. And the other of the returning guards, McGee with 12. Clark pitching in with 7. Everyone for Virginia with something to be proud of on a night that you do what you have to do in games like this. You know, American telling us playing in a game like this allows them to fund some of the trips they're going to make schedule-wise later in the year and test where they are. For Virginia, you want to keep everybody healthy. You want to lay a foundational building block, and you want to take care of business. And Lauren, that's what they did against American.
Oh yeah, as the clock winds down, Virginia able to take this first win of the season and put it in their back pocket for a few days, Jason.
Yeah, led by